Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, and I'm flaring. Anyways, it is Tuesday, and we're back. We're back, right? So for another day, I had, the one thing I had planned for like 2 weeks now, I still have not done. So I'm starting to wonder if it's something I should even do at this point. But I do have something else. And I got my tea. I know. It's in a bag. What can I say? Yeah, simplify. Anyway, so yeah. But, I finally made it through the other book. I'm in my new book now, which I blinged. But I don't know what it is. I used to hate blingy stuff. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's so pretty. Like a squirrel. Big time squirrel. So anyways, I'm also kind of distracted because somebody's car is going off out there. Anyways, happy Tuesday. So again, let's talk about, we're good. So anyways, like I said, I had something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. Eventually, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but, I have something different today, and it was something I remembered. My friend posted it, and then I reposted it, and, my friend posted it, and then I reposted it. And I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. And I think it's kind of the rally cry that a lot of us need in this country right now. Because as I mentioned on a post yesterday, it's getting exhausting defending this country. And it's getting exhausting fighting off the people who keep bad-mouthing us because we're not doing enough. We're trying. Okay, we're trying. I don't know. It's difficult. It's very difficult because, I get it. I get why they're angry. I mean, we're angry. Try being here. Try being here with this government that we have in place that, doesn't care. I mean, they're not even hiding it anymore. There's a housing bill on the desk to be signed that will, a bipartisan one, okay, that will stop corporations from buying up houses and jacking up the prices. Okay, so that families can own a home, and it's just sitting there. And it's like, oh, it's unimportant. Okay, I'm quoting because that's what he said, the guy behind the big desk. It's unimportant. It's a yawn. I don't care about America's financial situation. I only care about this. And it's like, oh, whatever this is. How other people don't see it, I still don't get. I really don't. But, around 70% or more of us in this country finally get it. And it's disheartening. But anyways, so good morning, Muddy. Good morning, older sibling. So I'm just going to read this, okay? I'll save my commentary till the end if I have anything. But this is from Lady Libertie. She's on Substack. And it took me a while to find her. I found her this morning, so it's not in here that's where she's from. But she is from Substack, and it's Libertie, not Ty. All right. So if you want to find her on Substack, she's a legal scholar and a government analyst. And, I just, like I said, my friend posted this and then I reposted it, and it's beautiful. It's amazing because it's a reminder. It's the reminder we need, the rally cry we need. Okay. So, let's just go. Let me preface this with the following as we near the 4th of July Saturday. The USA's 250th birthday, because as a patriotic American, I've been struggling hard with this current administration who glaringly rails against the Constitution. But then I saw this quote, a reminder: you can love your country, honor the flag, support the military, and still be critical of the government. Those things are not mutually exclusive. Then I remembered this post. So get comfy, enjoy a cuppa, got mine, and dive into the thoughts of a social media account called Lady Libertie, who reminded me why I love this country, why I feel my patriotism is strongly needed now, and why we must fight for this beautiful place so many of us call our birthplace and our home and the land of opportunity for those who come here to seek the dream she offers. So here we go, again, from Lady Libertie. Hang in there. It's a long one. I was wrong about the World Cup. How the world showed up, fell in love with ordinary America, and reminded us why this country is still worth fighting for. I did not want this World Cup here. Let me start there, because Lady Libertie must confess her sins before the congregation. I was angry at FIFA for coming to the United States while our country is in this much turmoil. I thought they should have refused. I thought the whole spectacle would be a 5-week humiliation reel. Foreigners gawking at us, mocking us, getting fleeced by our prices, bruised by our policing, stranded by our transit, and then flying home with fresh evidence that America had finally lost her marbles. I imagined the worst version of it. I imagined the world showing up to a country, cracking down the middle and saying, "Good Lord, what happened to you people?" And I was dead wrong. Because what has unfolded instead is one of the sweetest, strangest, most culture-affirming things I have seen in a long time. It has not felt like an invasion. It has felt like a great big international sleepover where everybody brought a flag, learned one another's songs, got sunburned, ate too much, cried at midfield, and discovered that America is not only the place they see in disaster clips, shooting headlines, political horror shows, and social media sneer posts. America is also a Boston bar full of Scots belting out "Take Me Home, Country Roads" like West Virginia had just annexed Glasgow. America is a Boston police officer juggling a soccer ball while a crowd of international fans loses its entire mind because, for 1 minute, nobody is performing a culture war. They are just watching a guy in uniform do keepy-uppies in the street, and the whole crowd becomes 8 years old. America is turning Fenway Park into a Scottish annex after Scotland's first World Cup win in 36 years. It is Haitian fans marching from Copley Square, celebrating their country's first World Cup appearance in 50 years. It is Scottish and Haitian fans dancing together before their teams play each other, because sometimes the point of the contest is not hatred. Sometimes the point is that everybody got here. America is a German soccer fan named Freddie I'm sorry. America is a German soccer fan named Freddie becoming a folk hero because he came here for World Cup and fell passionately, hilariously, completely in love with the most ordinary parts of this country. Not the Grand Canyon, not the Statue of Liberty, not the official brochure America. Waffle House, Taco Bell, Wendy's, Walmart, Buc-ee's, Chili's during the NBA Finals. The man went to Waffle House at 1 a.m. and praised the food, the prices, and the friendly staff like he had found a roadside cathedral. He went to the Wendy's and treated the Coca-Cola freestyle machine like America handed him the controls to his spaceship. He looked at Buc-ee's and had the correct reaction, which is, "This is a gas station? Yes, sir. Yes, it is." Welcome to the Republic. And people loved it because he loved it. That is the part I did not see coming. I did not expect how much Americans needed to watch other people enjoying America. Not the empire, not the oligarchs, not the political machine, not the billionaire rot sitting on top of us like a gilded vulture. I mean America. The actual country. The weird, generous, loud, excessive, funny, sincere, oversalted, underfunded, chaotic, open-hearted country where a hotel receptionist gives strangers a ride in the rain so they do not have to walk an hour to the stadium. The country where visiting fans discover ranch dressing, ballparks, gas station empires, a gallon of milk, and the strange civic sacrament of eating food you do not understand in a place you did not plan to love. There has been moments that feel almost too on the nose. Japanese fans cleaning up stands after a match in Dallas. The kind of quiet civic grace that makes everyone else look at the floor and think, well, now we have to be better people. Frenchmen adoring American pastries, fans from everywhere filling our cities with song instead of contempt. Even the eagle flyovers and Americans of all race, color, gender, and creed proudly singing the national anthem, hand over heart, in the stands before a game. Not as swagger or bluster, but with the tears in our eyes, love for the promise of our country. It matters because Americans have been force-fed contempt for ourselves for years. Some of it earned. Let's not get precious. We have real violence here, real poverty, real cruelty, real corruption, real political danger. Nobody needs to put a doily over the rot and call it patriotism. That is not love. But the opposite is just as dangerous. A people cannot fight for a country they have been taught only to hate. You cannot build a democracy out of disgust alone. You cannot defend public life if you no longer believe there is anything public worth defending. You cannot ask people to sacrifice, organize, vote, march, strike, protect one another, and hold the line if all they have been given is a picture of America as a scam, a punchline, a crime scene, a lost cause. So yes, we need the indictment, but we also need the reminder. We need to see the world come here and find joy in us. We need to see strangers fall in love with our ordinary. We need to see our cities become meeting places instead of battlegrounds. We need to hear other people sing our songs badly and beautifully. We need to watch them eat our ridiculous food and call it wonderful. We need to remember that culture is not just museums and monuments. It is diners, ballparks, corner bars, street music, gas stations the size of airports, and the particular American madness of giving a person 100 drink options and calling that convenience. This World Cup has not fixed America. Good grief, no. FIFA did not roll in with a soccer ball and heal the republic. Let us not lose our heads. But it has done something I did not expect. It has let us see the America loved from the outside. And sometimes when you are tired, furious, and half convinced the whole thing is beyond saving that matters, sometimes you need to watch a crowd go still for the national anthem and remember why your throat tightens. Sometimes you need to see visitors cheer for our cities, laugh with our people, eat our food, and sing our songs before you can feel again. And this place is not only this place is not only what has been done to it. It is also what is alive in it, and that's why we fight. Lady Libertie. So, this is from me. And from me to Lady Libertie, I thank you for reminding us why we fight for this country, her people, her immigrants, her first generations, her marginalized, and so on. This is the breath of air we needed to fill our lungs so we can keep shouting from the mountaintops, the pep in our step to keep marching, and the refill of love in our hearts to remind us why we love this country despite the beating she is taking right now. I can't really add to that, but I'm going to. I'm the kind of person that loves the small things, the little things in life. And so, we have Taco Bell, Wendy's, Walmart, and Chili's all over Southern California, but we don't have Buc-ee's. All right. And I have a friend, who lives, near where I actually live. And, they were in the South visiting, the partner's mom. And they went to Buc-ee's. They specifically made a special trip to Buc-ee's. I have a pen here from my cousin who was in the same place from Buc-ee's. And I was excited because here's the thing. I love the small things. This is a destination for me. This is a bucket list to go to Buc-ee's and see what is so big deal about it, right? It's the candy shop on the way home from Vegas a couple years ago. That was just, that my dad and everybody talked about. Excuse me, but I didn't get to go to. However, we did stop at a gas stop that was just ginormous. I mean, I've been to some on the way to go visit baby sibling, but it was wild. It was fantastic. Waffle House. Whenever I see a Waffle House, it's like, we gotta go. We gotta stop. My very first trip to Waffle House is when we went to Disney World, in 2009. And, I fell in love with it. Everybody, she did mention in here that that's not what she'd heard about, Waffle House from social media posts. But when you really dive into what she's saying here, and you think about the posts from Waffle House, it's like, chances are, because they're open in the middle of the night, serving hangover food, or hi, I'm drunk food. The people that are complaining about it probably had it coming. It's simple as that. What? Okay, so Muddy said that was beautiful. It was very beautiful. I posted it to my Facebook page, and I did save my post, but I'll see if I can find her Substack that she posted that on and put it in the comments. If not, you know how to find her. Again, Lady Libertie, Libertie. And then older sibling says, the chocolate pucks I got you are from Buc-ee's. Wow. I'm excited. I mean, seriously. I mean, what is Buc-ee's? Buc-ee's is a beaver, I think, with a hat. But I mean, it's become a cultural destination for people. It's become this phenomenon, you know, and because here's the thing, the United States is like 50 little countries, all right? And we have regions. Yes, we have regions. But California does not have a Buc-ee's. In fact, I think Arizona just got its first one, and everybody's like, we got to go. Road trip. Just kind of like Cracker Barrel, right? Cracker Barrel, and now we have 2 of them in Southern California, but it kind of lost its oomph once we got one, although there's still quite the journey to get to them. Neither one of them is very close to the house. But sibling said, yes, it is a beaver. Look how cute he is. I mean, that makes sense, right? Buc-ee's, his buck teeth. But the reason I love this and the reason it's so beautiful is because it's a reminder what we're fighting for. It's the rally cry. And there are going to be people who maybe watch this and go, I don't know what you think you're fighting for. I saw a video yesterday of a bunch of white supremacist assholes standing outside BET, the BET Awards yesterday, saying that black parents are disgusting. They were saying to the women, oh, why are all the women in there dressed like whores? Sorry, I have to compose myself. But the beauty of that video that somebody posted is coming up behind them was another group, a bigger group, with their, not just a tiny little shouting voice, with a megaphone, chasing them off. Because that's not what America is. That's a small group of people who this administration has given power to, making them think that racism is okay again, that being a bigot is okay, that being an asshole is okay. I saw another post where from, I don't know if you know who Jazz Jennings is, but very, very prominent trans activist, but her entire family, especially her brother, I mean, she's close to all her siblings, but this brother, I think, is closest to her in age, so they're very close. And he has become not just her protector, like the whole family, but also a very, loud supporter of, the LGBTQ community. And he is not a member of the LGBTQ. He is an ally, as a lot of us are. But he was playing football with some friends and somebody called him, somebody on the other team called him, okay, forgive me, a fag. And he's like, what'd you say to me? And the guy, but then afterwards he says, the guy came over to me and he apologized to me because, I didn't see your shirt. He was wearing a pride shirt. But Sandra Jennings brought up the perfect point. Would it have made a difference if I was wearing the shirt or not? It shouldn't, that should not be a word. First of all, let's break down the etymology of that word. Okay. In Britain, a fag is basically a cigarette. But if you go back even further, faggot is it's a pile of sticks. Yeah, I looked it up. It's a pile of sticks. All right. So we know how it kind of probably got to where it got to. But seriously, why is any of that necessary? Why are people mean? You know why? And you know why we're tired and we're angry? Because this administration has made hate okay again. It's not make America great again. It's make America hate again. Make everything white again. Okay? And I don't have anything against white people, for fuck's sake. I'm half white. Okay? My dad has about this much Hawaiian in him. The rest of it is European and British stuff. And a little bit of African American. Not gonna lie. That's right. I'm 4.5% African American. I have almost as much African American in me as I have Hawaiian in me. But people think I'm just naturally Hawaiian because half of me is Filipino. So yes, I'm half Asian too. But I think about the people that sit there and say, well, The whole idea of immigrants coming here, that was a long time ago. No, it wasn't a long time ago. Nobody put a time limit on how many people can come here. On my mom's side, I'm third generation. On my dad's side, a little bit more, probably about sixth. But my oldest grandfather on my dad's side came here in the 1800s. So we don't even go back to the 18th century. We go back to the 19th century. My great grandmother came here in the 20th century. She came to Hawaii. She ran away from home in a very prominent marriage from a very prominent family. She lived probably lower middle class for the rest of her life, but she found love. She married the person she wanted to marry. She had a bunch of babies. Some of them didn't survive because that was the time. But, she gave birth to my grandmother in Hawaii, and my grandmother had my mother, and then my mother had me. And so I think about that. I'm not that far removed on my mom's side. But what if that opportunity hadn't been there? My grandfather, my mom's actual father, came from the Philippines. What if he hadn't been allowed to come in? I wouldn't be here today. What if they only let the white people in? I would not be here today. And, these are the things that we fight for. Do we need better immigration laws? Probably, but not the kind that we have now. Okay? But also for the people that are here. Don't poo-poo them. These people are out there doing the jobs that people don't want to do. They're out there in the fields picking our food. They're cleaning up our messes in public places. These are people who came here for a dream, who want to make things better for their family. And a lot of times they come here because it's dangerous where they live. Their children have a better shot here than being shot where they come from, usually by a stray bullet. Right? Yeah, we have violence here. Yeah, we have poverty here. Yes, we definitely lately have a lot of cruelty here. We have an administration that caters to the rich. And I have no problem if you have money. Taylor Swift has money. The owner of Snapchat has money. But guess what? Oprah has money. But guess what? They do stuff with theirs. Bill Gates' ex-wife and Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. Two women who have lots of money giving it away. I'm not saying you have to be rich and give it away, but if you notice, all the rich people complaining about having to pay taxes are the ones who don't give anything back to society, except building rockets that look like penises and having their little dick race to see who can hit space first. But they don't care about the rest of the people. And you can't convince me that they do. If they did, they would pay their fair share of taxes. They would stop gutting all of these different things we have. This administration is holding Africa hostage, keeping life-saving medicine from them because they want rights to their mineral things, their mineral mines. That's their livelihood. We are not Rome of the early millennia. We are not Britain and France and Spain from the middle of the millennia. They've all settled down. We are a young country. Yes, we're going to be 250 years old this Saturday. But when our forefathers, declared independence from the monarchy of England, they didn't do it so some clown could come in and wreck everything they wanted. They were literally trying to save us from what's happening now. And it's dumb. Prices have gone up. Gas has gone up. It's starting to go down a little bit now that we bent the knee to Iran, paying them. People are trying to say, well, we always pay reparations when we, after war. It's like, yeah, but we don't usually pay it directly. We help them rebuild. Yes, we might give them a little bit of money, but this wasn't a win. This was everybody getting what they wanted except for the people involved. the Iranian people who are still fighting for their independence, the people here who are still fighting to put food on the table, to put gas in their car so they can go to work to put food on their table. But this is what Lady Liberty was talking about. We get so caught up in all of our anger, all of our disgust with what's happening, that we forget what we're fighting for. We're fighting for the ranch dressing that people love, that the TSA had to put warnings out for. Hey, you can only put 4.5 ounces in your suitcase and don't check it. You know, because things explode, right? If you're going to check the ranch dressing into your luggage, put it in a Ziploc, all right? So at least that way, you know, if it does explode in there, you can just remove the bottle, seal it up, twist it, and then use it like a, you know, like a baker. You know, just cut the tip. Put it back in a new jar when you get home. Or even better, if you got mayonnaise in your country, buy the packets. The packets actually taste better than the bottles, by the way. The little Hidden Valley Ranch packets, and mix it. Make your own. But this is what we're fighting for. The little things. The Waffle House. The Taco Bell. Well, I'm not fighting for Taco Bell. I like Del Taco. But not everywhere has Del Taco. The Wendy's, the Buc-ee's, the Chili's. The things that seem like everyday occurrences to us, but are more than that. The Waffle House. I told you the story about the first trip to the Waffle House and older sibling and her sweet tea. But the lady was very nice. She was very nice. She was even going to take back the tea that older sibling had poured a bag of sugar into, which is basically making her own sweet tea at the table, and not charge us. But I told her, I said, no, I don't want to waste it. So I drank it. I literally had to choke it down. Way too much sugar. But that same day, older sibling fell in love with sweet tea. The actual sweet tea. And meanwhile, our little Southern belle, Miss Joanne, Sissy Joe, was just sitting there horrified, like, oh my God, what are these people going to think about me? And I don't blame her, because even I was sitting there like, oh my Lord, what is she doing? Because I understood what sweet tea was, because, you know, Sissy Joe used to go to Chick-fil-A to get some, so I understood the whole thought process behind it. And, but they were nice. They did stare, but they were nice. The Tucson Waffle House that I've been to, absolutely nice. When you say please and thank you, people are going to be nice to you. Okay? People are not going to be assholes to you. They're going to be nice to you. They're going to look at you and go, hey, you know, you're welcome. Because they don't get a lot of please and thank yous. You know? These are the things we're fighting for. This whole post felt like a rally cry. And it's the first one in my new perspective book, so I'm excited about it, because that's what America is. It's all the little things. It's all the joys that we have. It's the 7-Elevens dotted around. I mean, other countries have 7-Elevens, but you know, it's like me going to the Sainsbury or the Tesco in Notting Hill, and just being excited because it's literally like someone took a grocery store, shrunk it into the size of a 7-Eleven, and stuck it on a street corner. But they had everything. It's just like, oh. They even had fresh bread and pastries. Where the cheese aisle and the dairy aisle is like the most prominent part of this place. But I bet you everybody that walks there or goes there is just like, it's just my local store down the street. Like the little bodega in New York, right? Everyone looks at the little bodega and goes, oh, okay. But when you visit there, you know, the hot dog vendor on the street in New York, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm standing there after a red-eye flight for a cruise that the girls and I were taking. And he's just looking at me like I'm insane. Like, you want a hot dog now? He's like, I just started cooking. I'm like, oh, wait. I mean, really? He's like, well, you know, most people really like them done. And I said, I just need it hot. I said, I'll eat it cold if that's how you have it. But I said, I'm in New York. I've never had a street hot dog. I want a street hot dog. Please and thank you. But like I said, we're like 50 little countries. Hawaii has its own essence. Alaska has its own essence. California, New Mexico, South Dakota, Maryland, which is attached to Washington, D.C., New York, Boston, Connecticut, Maine, Minnesota, Chicago, well, Illinois. But, they all have their own essence. We all have our own essence. And each state offers something of its own. Maybe a certain delicacy. If you go along the southern rim of the United States, even the Mexican food differs from California to Arizona to New Mexico to Tex-Mex in Texas. It does. It ranges. Because they're all different regions of Mexico that just went north. I might be a little biased, but I think California has the best Mexican food. Sorry. But yeah. So these are the things that we need to fight for. Okay, these are the things that we need to remind ourselves why, even when we're exhausted, that we have to keep pushing forward, that we have to keep going, that we have to remind ourselves that despite the administration that's in office right now, we can win this battle, and we have to win this battle. There have been presidents that I did not vote for. That's fine. They were just that guy in the office. But when two sides come together against one administration, that's a problem. The Republican Party is broken. The majority of the Republican Party are actually siding with the left, being very bipartisan, saying we got to take this country back. This guy is not, he doesn't represent our values. He just represents the wealthy class. So, wow. So Sammy says, I don't know about now, but about 25 years ago, a survey was done in a community about 7 miles from here. 31 languages were spoken there as a first language. Wow, see? The immigrant life, right? People adding. Did you know that, well, I'm just going to call them undocumented immigrants, actually contributed almost $1 billion in revenue to this country in 1 year. And guess what? Because they have to pay taxes, but they don't get anything in return because they're undocumented. They don't get medical. They don't get, like Social Security. They don't get any of that unless they become documented. But I bet you didn't know that, did you? You just think they're here living off the government when they're not. There are probably more people. They actually said, and I was reading this, that red states have more people living off the government than blue states. And I find that fascinating because the red states are the ones that put this guy in the White House, and now he's cutting all their funding, and they're starting to go, uh-oh. They cut funding for veterans. I have a veteran sitting out there. I have a lot of veterans in my family. I don't like that. So, whenever you feel weary, whenever you feel exhausted, whenever you feel tired from having to defend this country against this maniac, go back to this post and read it and remind yourself why we fight for her. The Waffle Houses, the Buc-ee's, the Chili's, the Taco Bells in California, and one place in Arizona and Florida, the Del Tacos. I know. Del Taco is like an upgrade from Taco Bell. But I know my dad and older sibling love Taco Bell. But I used to, until I discovered Del Taco. But all those things. The Jazz in New Orleans. Bourbon Street, right? Is it Bourbon Street? Muddy, does the underground still exist in Atlanta? Was it Atlanta, I think? I remember meeting a gentleman back when I was 17, and we were at a park in Virginia, and I remember I was a huge REM fan at the time, and he and I were just talking. He's like, well, if you're ever in Atlanta, you got to go to the underground, because he's like, I think you really like it. And, we were all just, it was a national park. But all these things, the Statue of Liberty, welcoming, the tired, the weary, all the reasons You know, the Empire State Building, the Space Needle in Seattle, the Sears Tower in Chicago. All these things. Disney World, Disneyland, Disneyland, happy place. This is why we fight for this country. This is why we love her so much. And this is why we need to protect, again, our marginalized. We need to keep them safe. I saw a guy with a shirt on yesterday that was basically anti-trans without actually coming out and say it. And I wanted to punch him in the face. I'm not going to lie, I did. But all I did was give him the stink eye. And he never noticed. The girl at the checkout did, but he didn't. But all I could think of was, you are so uninformed. But I want to ask people, what makes you so afraid of the marginalized communities? Because someone told you to be afraid? Because someone raised you that way? My dad and I were talking about that the other day. You know, when we were watching a documentary on the Nisei soldiers. You know, the Japanese battalion that they basically sent in because they were, expendable. One of the most highly decorated American battalions in World War II. Because they didn't just have to prove, or they weren't just fighting because they loved this country, because they were born here. Even if they were first generation, or even if they moved here as a child. But they also had to prove that they weren't the enemy. Because what did we do? We didn't round up all the Germans in the United States, but no, we rounded up all of the all the West Coast Japanese people and stuck them in camps. If you were in Hawaii, you were pretty much safe because you were the labor force. Definitely a black eye on this country. Definitely. The Tulsa massacre that they try to put off as a riot. Bullshit. Okay. I was like, what's the Tulsa riots? I didn't know about this until about its 100th anniversary, because it wasn't in my book, wasn't in my history book. It wasn't a riot, it was a massacre. They called it Black Wall Street, I believe. And they were thriving. You know, the white people said, hey, you know what? Go over here, do your own thing. We don't want you in our communities. And they did. And they thrived. And then the white people got mad. And then they burnt everything down. They burnt their homes down. They burnt their businesses down. It's like, how about you just work with them? But you know why? Because we're not born to hate. We're taught to hate. And maybe that's what this administration is hoping, is that we'll be too tired to fight. So let this be the rally cry. Let Lady Libertie's beautiful words of World Cup inspire us. Maybe it wasn't a mistake that it came here. Maybe this is the kick in the butt that we needed to make sure that we save her. We save this beautiful place. Because she's worth it. She is worth it. Oh. Okay, Muddy says, I think the underground is still here, but it's like a big mall. I hate it. The underground was fantastic. See, born in the wrong generation, I think. But anyway, all right. I've mumbled on enough, or rambled on enough. But yeah, next time you pour a thing of ranch, or somebody offers you ranch, respect it, because you know what? Other countries don't have it. All right, and like I said, I'm half white. I'm not opposed to white people. I'm opposed and allergic to racist people. Okay, highly allergic to racist people. I don't like racists, and they come in all shapes and sizes. They come in all colors. Okay, but I think we should also be proud of our culture. I'm proud to be a Hawaiian. I don't know much about my Filipino side, but all my Filipinos are teaching it. My friend in the UK says I'm definitely Irish, which is another big one for me. But there's so many other things. I'm a true mutt. I am a true mutt. Older sibling tried to tell me she was a mutt last night. I'm like, you're like a wannabe mutt. I'm a mutt. You're trying to be a mutt. I'm very global. I think I called Muddy and I the United Nations. So we are the United Nations. So yeah, so when you hear me talking about that, please don't misunderstand, okay? Because I mean, technically I'm I can pass for white for the most part, except in the summer when I get dark. But I have nothing against white people. I mean, the two people watching right now, seriously, European Brits in America, with a little bit of African American and Native American. But that's what makes this country beautiful. We may have stolen this land from other people, and we have a long way to go. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. We have a long way to go. But I think we can make it. I think we can do it. But we also have to respect our roots. We have to respect the Native Americans that we pushed off their lands. The Native Hawaiians that we pushed off their lands. And we need to pay homage to them. We need to respect that. The Mexicans that we pushed off their lands. Okay? So, yeah. So this isn't a grievance towards anybody except for all the bigots and the racists out there. You know, so if you're white, I have nothing against you. But if you're a white racist or a racist of any color, we got a problem. And I'm going to end it on that, because we will have a problem. That is not a threat. That is not a promise. That is me telling you that your time is numbered. Your days are numbered. Not because of death, but because, you know what? This country will find her way back, and you'll be marginal. You'll be the marginalized. While the rest of us unite in cultural bliss and cultural beauty. The United States is a melting pot. She's a melting pot of all beautiful things. All beautiful things. And when we learn to embrace that, when we learn to love our brothers and sisters, whether they snuck over the border or came here the right way. And I say the right way because that means they can stay without fear of somebody throwing them back to wherever they came from, or into a little, concrete fence jungle, which is ridiculous. Those are concentration camps. I don't care what you call them. Okay, they're not detention centers, they're concentration camps. People have snuck in video and snuck out video. They're horrible. Babies crying, nobody holding them. That's terrible. You're literally raising bad things. You're making bad things happen. So, anyways, I gotta stop because I could go on about this forever. I'm so angry. And I'm so tired. I'm so tired. But I love this country. It's where I was born. It's where I was raised. It's where I'm from. No matter where in the world I go, she will always be home. And that's why I share these things, because I know we need to save her. And I don't think it's too late. I don't. All bad things will come to an end. It's just, when. So, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please, please, please take care of yourselves. Remember Lady Libertie's words, all right? She's worth fighting for. Okay? Have a great day. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Facebook Live, All Lives Are Public, under Shelly Marie Lucas. You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, across the social media board, not on Instagram because I can't figure that out. But have a great day, everybody. And, and thank you for hanging in there. I'll see you tomorrow.